today, Rinpoche went over the chapter. Hold on. What chapter is it? What are we in, 18? 19? I just want to... I think it's 18 or 19. We continued it, right?
Yes.
18? Hold on. It doesn't matter. It's fine. I don't usually put the chapter in there anyway. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Today, Rinpoche continued chapter 19, where Lama Tsongkhapa presents the idea that no matter how one looks at reality, there is not a shred of intrinsic existence in anything. Various schools assert that even conventional truth has intrinsic existence. The Madhyamika Prasangika view is that all things lack intrinsic existence completely. Just real quickly, sorry. Lori, do you have the keys to the car? Okay. I'm just not sure if the car is locked or if I... That's okay. We're going to go with it's okay.
We're going to go lock it.
Well, I don't have a key. I'm going to have to figure all that out. They may be in the car. Or... Thanks. Sorry to interrupt. I just... I got out of the car and my back was so hurting. I don't know what I did with the keys. There's stuff of value possibly in the car, so that's all. That's all. And they're not like right in front of me.
No keys.
Okay. Don't know. I don't know. Maybe I set them down. I made a prostration and then I went down. It's fine. I just don't know if they're like sitting in the ignition.
Oh, I think I found it.
Yeah. On a band? Okay, I can lock it from here.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. All set.
It's got good range.
Yeah.
Okay, Dixon.
Oh yeah, that lang re jibe chungun lang ding lang jibe
Bless
chibi
you.
lang jibe chibi lang song ro. Da jibe chungun lang de ne mo ge ju su jin de zhang ro. Jibe ding lang de ne la ba song de ne jibe chibi lang shang ju ge san da. Hin ji chen bo la su de la de ne sang jibe chu wo de su yin ba de.
Bless you. Welcome everyone to the Chenrezig Center. Once again, we're looking at Lama Tsongkhapa's great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. And this text is a summary of all of Lord Buddha's teachings. If we were to take all of the teachings that are found in the Kangjur, the pronouncements of Lord Buddha, and the Tanjur, the authentic Indian commentaries, and we were to summarize them, if we were to take all of these texts and condense them into a summary, in an order of practice, we would divide them into the teachings for beings of three capacities. And this is a format that was made by Lord Atisha in his Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment in a very short poem form. And then this text, the great treatise on the stage of the path to enlightenment, is an explanation in a very extended fashion of that small poem that puts all of Lord Buddha's teachings into those three categories: teachings for beings of small capacity, medium capacity, and great capacity, and shows the order in which a sentient being can become enlightened. So what the process is from the beginning stages to the end. So Lord Atisha presented this because things were very confusing in Tibet at the time of how one would practice. There were many Sanskrit texts that had been translated, but not a lot of knowledge and practical application and experience. So Atisha came to answer certain questions about how to clarify the teachings of Lord Buddha, and then presented them by way of these three capacities. So this text is a commentary on Atisha's work to explain Atisha's full intent. So the first category of teachings are called the teachings shared in common with beings of small capacity, and these are for practitioners who wish to just achieve a higher realm rebirth in their next life. This practitioner engages in going for refuge to the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, abandons the 10 non-virtuous activities, so engages in the ethical behavior which abandons those, and then acknowledges downfalls. And then by practicing this, he or she is able to achieve a higher realm rebirth. So going for refuge to the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and abstaining from the 10 non-virtues. The next category of teachings, the teachings shared in common with beings of medium capacity, are for practitioners who wish to achieve their own individual nirvana, not for the sake of all sentient beings, not to free all sentient beings, only for their own sake and their own individual liberation. This practitioner engages in the three highest higher trainings of ethics, concentration, and wisdom, and in dependence upon those practices is able to achieve their own liberation or nirvana. The final set of teachings are for those beings who wish to achieve complete Buddhahood or omniscience. Those teachings are called the teachings for beings of great capacity. This practitioner practices all of the already mentioned, aforementioned, same, right? Mentioned practices, and then combines those with the mind that aspires to enlightenment, and then the practice of the six perfections. And in dependence upon that, he or she can achieve Buddhahood. So this is how the teachings are divided into three categories, and how the entire text, the Great Treatise on the Stage of the Path to Enlightenment, is formatted. It goes from the small to the medium to the great, and we're currently in the teachings for beings of great capacity, and in the section which is the most difficult section of this text, and one of the most difficult sections of any text really ever written on Buddhism. So if you get lost, or it seems complicated and doesn't really seem to mean anything, or it seems to be simple, one or the other, then it means that it just is because of a lack of experience. And when I say experience, someone like Rinpoche went into a monastery at 8, started studying, even studied some texts before that, and then got a Geshe degree 35 years later and would still say they struggle with certain parts of this text. So when I say you don't have the experience, it's not belittling. I don't have the experience, and I don't know what most of this means, and having spent all of these years and studied what I have. Dikson Rinpoche. I'll let you know where we are. Zola soba yoba, jengu tanto kelang gozo sheba la yang zozo yoba, te ke melanchang jengu ro jaba, shinto yang kelang gubi shir, kelang ba le chua medo. Te tse kanki ngoro jabe, jen tang yoba bo, rang la soba, na kelang do gobe yengu zando kelang gozo she mebe ne ranlu meba la meba maze neba yino kede ranlu meba dan yengu zando kelang gozo she bayan ku tedar ne mamenje chejagi ngona nawa yino she jiden jampen pe jang hyba menu be ne ngosung la hyna ne chirang ki kam mazoa ko jane tebala soba cheje riba tene musaro tata ina kelang meba so je ngeba jen jishi shagwe de jenda shi mhenjang tara tala hyebe chobe ne jun tala dado mebe shiro kede tanjo yang yangu tanto yogi rangi lo mendo do she Hanane Raju je lo ka ne
타조지 중도바 다유 다와타비 로라 헤베 지시샤데 네 라주 켈랑발라 라주 켈랑라 마롱아 제도 타조야 마롱라 타주 영어 롱아 제도 라주 장 gobe onge 영어 제바 오이 서로 가지 산상 영어로 되지 라로라 만도 말버테네 산상 바라 야도 모로 아진도 오마베탄 오마에 된 탄주지 된라 바베 탄주와 탄주랑기 로라 마론라 영우자도 줘봐 대야 탄주와 마론신 라주발라 메베 고자게 오마바 마이노 셰사와테마 이노 데셔더라 마저 외도시 지된 것이 하나 지된 것이 다는 마와시 셰비 되야 나자 탄지 영어 셰비 공수 모론데 최나라 라겐 거요도베 라제 매바네 라제 외메 수진도 쮸베베 영어 조게 타녀비 셰바 랑가 영어로 먼저비 셰데 대 라제 매바 주나 레시 되면도 타완주 셰당 용이 레장 여도셰 지데 모로 셰 송베 졸라소바 나 여반조바 지데 정으로 요바 송비셔로 근도 케말란셰 송바네 산잔베 제와 켈랑바타르 말란셰비튼 이제 네 군도들 랑로라 케말란셰바 메데 제다 최제 영왕원들 셰송비셔로 용대 상주도 최지 태방 리바지 세나 체랑기 리바나지 내장 체지 군도 세로시 향베 랭임베 영화리베 네 제주지 뭐버신 더바 따라 군도 남 대달 대면도베 제베 고메뉴 총소 셰베 된임비셔로 지대 정원 셰바네 라로 메베 네 영어라서 마이제 타녀비 셰비 너메 나라 셰바이데 군두비 되남 여바조바 타제네 대용으로 자고비 셰당 오마바랑기 줄라 양 타녀비 참아 나 여비셔로 대나 매장 셰베네 랑기 천이지 매발라 샤오 랑게 천이지 매장 들 여도 샤와다 매장 여도 셰네 샤므론데 데네 랑게 타녀비 되나지 조수인라 랑게 천이지 조바 타녀도 매비 시당 근데 이제 봐 디 세제도 지데나 여바다 매버는 되봐야 나야 다른 되지 잠베 매버마로 이셔로 되나 저도 매장 타녀도 여도시 모두 좀 따라 임베 매장 여도시 봐 sheba don tanye do tade do sonwa la junchen me do wona zundu ji shu dang jawa me ba ja shebe don kan yin ba she gu la nyogo rangi ngoyo drobe rangi me do she dang jana ne tende yin bi shir she tenzi dang bana zunye jin shebe penyang dogu la dedar shukshu dang chabi tsuyuni je tenzi dang de droba shayi roja dang tatubi jeba yu nga la tenne shigula jebar dena deise ranju je miyang nawa zanto sebe ranju goba nge jisha nyane tela tangja tang shu meba sheba ang cheja ki sheba tayang yue la kelang goba yang doma shi yue sombe tezanto tangne shu meba ru kala nu jang raji meba tangja yue na raju banjoro shebe toba jewa ne shinto denba shi de ne che shinto chayi ne so nang shiro de ne la ranglu njubi kausu sheban joro de la zundu le tangja meba somba ne ngabu raji me do she oma be meba la ngoma yu de dar tangja yi tsi de la raji yu na ngabu tangji raji meba mate la raji me na raji yu ba ngu menu so sheba la zeba le treba yi la raji meba la yanda raji meba yang gadu ji shaji teba nga zundu zande chamba tar yino tena tangja yu me ne she yu me zeba mayi je nga bu na raji me do she tangje bi tsi la raji yu me zeba yinbe tenda yi tangje bi tsi de raji yu ba kelang na nga bu tangje raji me ba tangje ba ge yu jun nga la yu na di de dar mandu be jun de nga la me je bi jun yinbe tangja me be ruji do morong de raji me ba ni cheba shin do che yu shiro ke de ngosung la su be she su je ngosung la su ba ga yang me ba sung ba ha che se ji long zhang ba tar tsama tang je ja la rang ke ngoyo tu be ne me ja tang me je me ba tuen ba yin je ne ten yung ki tsama tang je ja me ba tuen ba ne je ja me ba tuen ba me no te yang ku samba la nga bu rang ki tsenyi nga sung ji chu ne go na te na oma be nga bu tangje rang jin ji tong bi na nga bu tangje rang jin ji tong bi rang jin ji tong go la ta ta na me ba yin be te mong go nyang do samba yin de yong de ne zun du le reji nga sung ji me ja me ne do ba she na ne rang ge ngo na me jo wa nga sung de ne she ba me sheba ti lan yin la ti reba yang ke de chue ji ngobu tang ji ngosung ji mi ne ngobu tang ji tongbi tongba shi doba shi na ne rona te yang teba ma yi de ti shir ji shir shi na ngobu tang ji ji na do ngosung ji tsama libi shir tongba yin la ngobu la me bara sheba kanyin ba tene tongba yin no di shir tseme me ba me do ma yin na ma mi na goba yang me tebe tela ngobu tangji tene tongba wo shi me ba kanyin ba tene teba ma yin no she song be shir jija bele jang
That's good. Chishana de jibjape lejang, that's good. Gangisana injike mambo logo. Then a conso de. Okay, jibjape lejang, the kabire, the
jijabe.
I was following it and then I just saw it.
Me na goba yang metebe tela, ngobu tangji, tongba wo shi me ba kanyin ba tene teba ma yin no. Okay. Okay, yabudu. Yeah.
Okay. Ngatsu de ka, then injikelo. Okay. Rinpoche was going really far, so I wanted to get some English in for a second. So we're on page 238, right at the last paragraph. It says, those who claim to advocate. Okay, so again, 238, those who claim to advocate. I won't do it again, but I really want to. Those who claim to advocate the Madhyamaka system, and in particular the system of Chandrakirti, contradict themselves by claiming to have no system of their own. Likewise, it is also incorrect to claim that everything that you set forth is posited only in terms of the perspective of others, in this way hoping to free yourself from asserting anything. When you say that you must assert the existence of things such as form only in terms of the perspective of others, you may not be asserting the existence of things such as form, but you certainly must be asserting that you posit form and such in terms of the perspective of others. So you have not freed yourself from all assertions. You have to assert that at the time there is one another person in terms of whose perspective you posit things, and two, yourself, the one who posits them. Therefore, the claim that you accept things only in terms of the perspective of others not only fails to imply that you have no system of your own, it actually vitiates against such a notion. Objection. We do not even claim that we have no system or that we assert thesis only in terms of perspective of others. However, from your point of view, it appears that we make these claims. Reply. The position denies sensory experience that even the Lokyatas cannot deny. When you do not even experience what you yourself claim, how surprising that you should know what we have heard. If you do deny the existence of sensory experience, then why do you need to insist that you have no assertion? For no matter what you claim, you can deny it later and thus never be faulted. Opponent, we posit even reductio arguments only in terms of the perspective of others. We do not accept them in our own system. Reply, then what does it mean for you to repudiate the Svatantrika system and to have faith in the system of Chandrakirti, the textual founder of the Prasangika system? For just as the autonomous syllogism is admissible in your own system, so too reductio arguments are inadmissible. Just as reductio arguments are admissible in terms of perspective of others, you also end up using anonymous syllogisms as needed in terms of the perspective of others. We cannot call these persons Chittamantrans who accept mind-only philosophy in terms of the perspective of others, but who do not accept it in their own system. Likewise, we cannot call those persons Prasangikas who, while not allowing in their own system reductio arguments that establish the meaning of the middle way, nonetheless posit them in terms of the perspective of others. And since those who advocate this position are not are also not Svatantrikas. This clearly shows that they are not Madhyamikas. Chandrakirti's commentary on the Middle Way states, I say they exist for the effect, even though they do not. Taking the perspective of the world, I speak of a self. You cannot use this as a source to prove all positions are taken only in terms of the perspective of others. Why? One posits phenomena as lacking essential or intrinsic nature only in the purview of reasoned knowledge that properly analyzes whether such a nature exists. One does not posit this in the purview of an ordinary conventional consciousness. Why? Were that ordinary consciousness able to establish the lack of intrinsic nature, then reasoned knowledge would be pointless, which is absurd. Also, since that same text says, I say they exist, taking the perspective of the world, means that the existence of forms and such is positive in terms of the perspective of the world. When the text in the lines prior to those just cited states that we do not accept the conventional, means that we do not accept dependent entities as Chittamantran accepts them. It does not mean that we do not in our own system accept the conventional, for it says real dependent entities such as you accept. This stands a response to a Chittamantran argument given in a transitional passage of the commentary on that text. If you use what is valid or reasonable to refute dependent entities, I will use your arguments to refute what you consider the conventional. Hence, the meaning is this. You Chittamantrans believe dependent entities to be things that can withstand rational analysis. I do not accept such conventional phenomena. Hence, we disagree as to whether one can use reason to refute them. So just as a translator's note, this is a whole debate Lama Tsongkhapa is doing to the mind-only school. It's not a particular person. It's just basically the view holder of the mind-only school. So it's showing how, it's just presenting it, negating it, and stating that the Chandrakirti system is that of the Prasangika, and this is not that. We do not take the expression taking the perspective of the world to refer to the perspective of others who do not belong to our system. Rather, it refers to unimpaired conventional consciousnesses. This is because the existence of conventional objects must always be posited within the purview of such a consciousness, and because the valid cognitions that posit conventionalities exist even in the Madhyamika's own mind stream, Madhyamika's own mind stream, because that's a person, Madhyamiken. Therefore, we take the words, even though they do not exist, to refer to their lack of existence by way of intrinsic nature, character. So the passage should be glossed as, I tell them they exist, even though they do not exist by way of their intrinsic character. It is inappropriate to gloss it as, I say they exist, even though they do not exist. This is because this passage represents our way of positing conventional objects in which existence by way of intrinsic character is not possible even conventionally. So even the schools, even the middle way school, there are two categories, the Madhyamika Prasangika and Madhyamika Svatantrika. They're called the middle way consequence school and the middle way autonomy school. The middle way autonomy school even posits some intrinsic nature conventionally. So this whole section is just negating various subtleties within the tenet systems and showing how they are not tenable. So it's not possible even conventionally. Also in the portion of the commentary to his commentary on the middle way that explains that passage, Chandrakirti states that I accept whatever exists or does not exist for the world just as the world does. Thus that passage cannot be taken to mean that things do not exist. Therefore, since there are many such instances in which the text states that even though things do not ultimately exist, they nonetheless exist conventionally, there is not the slightest fault in taking the existence that is affirmed and the existence that is denied as having different meanings. In the passage, I say they exist even though they do not. Objection. You still have to explain what Nagarjuna's refutation of objection means when it says that Madhyamikas have no positions and theses. If you adopt this thesis, the seedling has no essential or intrinsic nature. Then you also have to accept the reason, because it is a dependently arisen thing. And the example, for example, like a reflected image, accordingly you accept that a syllogistic statement creates for the opponent 1, a reason that has bearing on the subject and has the two forms of pervasion. 2, a probandum, that reason proves. Is that how you say it? Probandum, that reason proves, and an inference that understands that probandum. This being the case, then, aside from simply hating the name autonomous syllogism, why do you go to the trouble of refuting autonomous syllogisms? Reply: the refutation of objections does explain that we have no theses and positions, just as you have cited. But since there are also many passages that state it is necessary to posit assertions, how can simply citing that one passage proves that Madhyamikas have no positions? It is quite true, however, that there has been concern that anyone who holds the absence of intrinsic existence as a thesis is a Svatantrika. This is because this is an exceedingly subtle and difficult point. Our response to that will be explained when we set forth our own position. As for Nagarjuna's system and the refutation of objections that has no thesis, Madhyamikas say that things lack... Madhyamikas. I'm going to figure that out one day. Madhyamikas say that things lack intrinsic nature. The essentialists argue that if the words of such a thesis have intrinsic nature, then it is incorrect to say that all phenomena lack intrinsic nature. If those words lack intrinsic nature, then they cannot repudiate the existence of intrinsic nature. However, something without intrinsic nature can function to prove or to disprove, according to previously cited passages from the Refutation of Objections and its commentary. This is admissible. Therefore, the issue as to having or not having theses is not an argument about whether Nagarjuna has them in general. It is instead an argument as to whether the words of this thesis, all things lack intrinsic nature, have intrinsic nature. Hence, the meaning of the lines from the Refutation of Objections is this: if I accepted that the words of such a thesis had an intrinsic nature, then I would be faulted for contradicting the thesis that all things lack intrinsic nature. But because I do not accept that, I cannot be faulted. That is why these lines cannot be taken as proving the Madhyamikas have no theses, for there is a very difficult difference between the absence of intrinsic existence and non-existence. The verse... Okay, here we go. The verse of Refutation of Objections, if sensory perception and so forth, does state that sensory perception and such have no perception at all. However, according to the previously cited passage from the Clear Words is Chandrakirti's text, this means that valid cognition and the phenomena it perceives are not essentially existent perceived objects and perceiving agents. It does not mean that there are no dependently arisen valid cognitions or phenomena that they perceive. In the essentialists' opinion, even if the intrinsic character of things as established by sensory perception could be refuted, the Madhyamikas claim that all things are empty of intrinsic nature would still require that sensory perception and the objects perceived by it empty of intrinsic nature, inasmuch as they are included among things. In that case, sensory perception and the objects perceived by it would in their view be non-existent. However, one cannot refute the intrinsic character of things. That passage from the Refutation of Objections, which states that sensory perception lacks perception, is given in answer to the essentialist view, a view which it states in these lines. So, if the things perceived by sensory perception were then repudiated, then sensory perception by which things are perceived would itself be non-existent. Okay, the commentary to those lines states, nor is it possible to claim that perception observes all things and then to repudiate them by stating all things are empty. Why? Valid sensory perception is included among all things and is therefore empty. That which perceive things would also be empty. Therefore, there would be no perception by valid cognition. What cannot perceive also cannot refute, and hence the claim that all things are empty is not valid. They're putting various positions forward that aren't the position of the Middle Way Consequence School. So you have to realize that as you're reading it. The only way you'd know that is if you were holding the view the consequence school. So it's going back and forth between correct view and incorrect view, and then the incorrect view will be refuted. As for the lines from Arya Deva's 400 stanzas, you can never refute. Chandrakirti's commentary teaches us that one cannot refute the advocates of emptiness no matter how long one tries. Since you claim that you do not even assert emptiness, how can you cite this passage's support of having no assertion at all? Chandrakirti's explanation of the Middle Way commentary quotes those 4 lines in the following passages. So basically it's going to end up that emptiness is empty. Emptiness lacks intrinsic existence. The words that explain it are empty. The object that it is being explained is empty. The explainer is empty, but all things conventionally exist without conventionally having any intrinsic nature because they dependently originate. There's nothing that has intrinsic this or thatness because it takes a collection of things to come together to serve as a basis of designation to be labeled as this or that. So here they're weaving in and out of, well, there is this little bit that intrinsically does exist, but that doesn't. And we're basically going to end up that nothing does once you get to the final point. But some of the schools, even up to the second to last highest school, assert some subtle intrinsic existence still. So the whole point is getting rid of all of that without getting rid of existence. So you have to be able to simultaneously posit that there is no intrinsic existence anywhere, even conventionally, that allows you to know that's a car, but still realize there is a car there that drives down the road, that functions as a car without being intrinsically a car. So that's where you want to land eventually. So it's between substantial existence and non-existence. In between that is where emptiness is. Substantial existence is having some inherent existence of this or thatness. The non-existence is obviously the nihilistic view that nothing exists. It's all just nothing exists, period. It's a dream, or it's a projection of our mind. That's what the mind-only school that they're refuting believes, that it's like a movie projector that's projecting out an experience, and then we're living within the experience, and then the living in the experience is then like almost recorded in our mind, and it stays in this bank, and then it projects something out again, and then we react, and then it comes back into this bank. So they believe that everything is a projection and nothing exists externally. So anyway, that's just an aside about some of the points that are being refuted here. Okay, Rinpoche, Digsung, the Jib Japile.
Jundele Jan, Kankishir, Tabara Yoba, Mawa Nala, Nisu Mawa, De, Mariba Nijishir, Nila Tene, Sunjibatan, Lam Hayu, Omabala, Nabatanjedo, Langamedo, Chikido, Pabale, Yudan Medan, Shizu, Gamba, Ye Transo, the Tar Ranking Ruby, J. Kebi, Tayu Do, Doba Nala, Mobo Yabam Hawa, Ranking Ruba, Doba Na, Mobo Mabam Hawa, Zusu Ji, Mobo Na, Dunsheba Tanji, Keban Doba Niji, Sunjin, Sun Majimba, Sheji Do, Tane. Ralu Mebe, Khensur Marula, Yume Tanji, Yume La Soba, Yume La Sobi Shujan, Nisu Mayu, Shu Tabu Yimba, Shinto Sayu, Ha Sunjin, Ha Sunjizo, Jingobadan, Yume Mama Setuji Kozo, sheba jino mebe dadan jen shunyi meziba titse tadar tonwa naje tonwa naje nyomoba naje ne ngaba ngaba njoro she shu meba jusen to ngaba meba sunla teya rangi chenji tang rangi rajin ngaba yoba yaba yinde tenji nyoba tangje la te meba tongyu nyomo ngaba sunba tang geyu so te na rajin ji ngaba kelambe shu meba la shu meba sunba yinde long ti kondo reba tujubi reba le kanda tenjin reba njongyu chu nang de ten mabu ba ten mabu shin ngabu na je rangi chenji je yoba toba sheba tada la ngabu kelang ba yuena ne ngabara kuna docha shedang jungwa ne ta marung zin tele shung yu toba njoro she ngabu la rangi chenji je drubi dundu ngabu la rangi chenji je drubi dundu la ngabu kelang do sombi shere tena rung tada ki Oma bala ralu meba tenpa mayinbe chondu na rijaba chane shujen kelamba mebi shiro she se le sombi tene teta sheba shawu gaja tayang mebi na gaja chayang mebi na ngan chayang mungu ko she somba tene gaja la ni le rangi ngoyu dundu bi yuji gaja la she na te meba jusen do she ne mungu ba somba meri bi yujen je gaja dundu la shawu te yin ba goye jang yoba mayinde she sombe teni meba ne rangi chenji ji drubi gaja tang goye meba la tata yoba zung ne de kako she choji kowa tabo she somba yinje teni su juma tabo majebe mayinde chondu le maa yi ne truba tang juma tabi jumi chibu yi juma goyi tar gobande yang teshin jor she tang kete sente rangin yu tenne jungwa majoro zeba kanji tenne jung toni mayi na kete zemba rajin yu zemba tela sushindu ne lama na la chudi yin ti she lenka te mento she minjula chudimba rajin yu na rangi jujen la tene yunga marunga dang zemba te sui jang doba marunga sombi shir sese le rangi tangcha mebi shir she sawa somba te ranglu mebi kuma yin te tene rangju ji tangcha mebi tuen yinbi shiro jubale shu meba somba ne ranglu la Sunji dan ji nika rangi ji maruba, rangi ji maruba deba. She junde rangi ji druba deba la trene sang mateba junde ji riba taba she ne kaba sunji ba kona manju de ne rebe jesu to rebe tazu to de magubi shero shebi tuen yi je ranlu meba ten ma yi de non di reba le ko ja ne shula tsombar tawa manju de 강기 셔 고자는 고자가 술라네 선지 이제바 샤와 체내장 선지바 매제바 셔바 선지바 선용아 샤와 마체바야 선지바 매제데 선용아다 선지바 니가 라지지 마루비시로 디실 체바다 마체바 삼바 메제도 시행어부 마유 급이 리비 따바 만주비 주센도 라지지 마루바 거지 켈레메바 마급이 시당 디 시제도 용지 도 잠발레 샤리비 라줄라 제바다 마제비 슈 관계자 마제바 슈나 토바 토지 제네 제바나 데니게 토바가 까바나 샤리비 오나 토바다 토바 매다시 제바나 하다바 따라 데니가 외면이지 취지는 뭐 민노 다다양 타녀도 이제 전도바 매도 시송바양 번제네 다다 켈랑바 손데 존데랜데 데 제다르 니소 타와 주셔 제방 마제비 취지 토바 까지 니장 ngо부 매바 머리비시 마다바 지네지 타녀도 토바 켈랑바데 대진도 순 용어 샤바다 순진바 다장 체방 마체바 매매 장 타녀도 순진바 순용어 순진바 셰도 셰셰바 샤오 셰테 마테 제베 따바르시네 데니가 강라야 순진바 매장 대 순진바 여바 메케베 타녀도 옌수 순진바 케 랑고바 사와 송비셔로 데마제 댄지 장 주자 로바 예바인데 하장비 데마타도 예야 최지 예민진고라 유 쳬바남 조냐라야 제종라 소비 나스 통한 졸라 냐마단 조냐 나바 트바 마트바 메리메제 때네 타녀장도 종주신 네 메대진도 랑게 시진 제바 로지셔 되는 여바 제다 대신 대야 셔로동 네 잠바샬라 네바 통한주 댄지네 테바 teba dande le jang roja to she shawa jeta zonye shesha chungse ji yueba mayin bi shena nyemi jinghu dang treba dang ma treba Geshe shayu toba na tangje do mesi meji wen jang zonye wen jang zo nyawa le zonye do meba na toba di dun sheba tejin do rajin je tombi sun jinba sun yongja sun jinba dang rajin je tongjin teba dang ma yu tenzi je roba shawa roba yin la ni so tawa yang manju rangi tsila tawa tomba mare so sheba shawo she rangla pakabi ribi ngudi manjubi teta songje ranglo me to she masombi shiro
Yapudu.
ya
They dig some Rinpoche. Then they lo then chio dan lenja.
Whatever.
Okay? All right. Let me find out where we are. Just give me one moment here. 192. Just want to match it up with the final English word. All right, that's easy. All right to there. All right, 400 verses. Okay. As for the lines from Aryadeva's 400 verses, you can never rebut. Chandrakirti's commentary teaches us that one cannot refute the advocates of emptiness, no matter how long one tries. Since you claim that you do not even assert emptiness, how can you cite this passage in support of having no assertion at all? Chandrakirti's explanation of the Middle Way commentary quotes those 4 lines in the following passage. It is incorrect for those who advocate the position that things exist only as designations to advocate dualism. Therefore, those who advance critiques and responses grounded in dualism against the Madhyamaka never find the slightest foothold. As Aryadeva's 400 stanzas says, no matter how long you try, you can never rebut those who have no position in regard to existence, non-existence, or both. Hence, Chandrakirti uses this passage to explain that neither the essentialists, who hold that things exist essentially, nor the nihilists, who believe in the total repudiation of functioning things such as form, can refute those who accept the imputed existence while repudiating essential or substantial existence. Consequently, that passage cannot be used as a source for the claim of the Madhyamikas that Madhyamikas have no position of their own. It is quite clear that the positions of the existence, non-existence, and so forth refer to instances of dualistically advocated positions. Hence, they are to be explained just as they were previously in our treatment of the refutation of the Tetralemma and the way to refute the advocates of existence and non-existence. Chandrakirti's commentary on Nagarjuna's 60 stanzas of reasoning passages, Mahatmas have no position, states, since there are no such real things, neither one's own position nor those of others can occur. Those of others can occur. The afflictions of those who see this will definitely stop. This commentary gives the non-existence of real things as the reason for having no position. Moreover, real thing here must be taken to refer to the intrinsic character or intrinsic nature, for to construe it as referring to functionality would contradict the statement that seeing its non-existence stops the afflictions. Therefore, insofar as Madhyamikas have no positions in which they accept intrinsically existing things, this text says that they have no positions. Therefore, inasfar as Madhyamikas have no positions in which they accept intrinsically existing things, this text says they have no positions. This is because Chandrakirti's commentary on the 60 stanzas of reasoning in the passage preceding this verse identifies the assertions of real things as the reification of intrinsic character in things. Chandrakirti's commentary and its root texts say, "Ask for those who have not fathomed this reality dependently arising recognizing and who believe completely in the intrinsic character of things. If they assert a real thing, it is absolutely certain that they will cling to stubborn and pernicious views which will give rise to attachment and hostility. Disputation will be the result of those views. Therefore, these scriptural passages do not teach that the Madhyamikas have no system of their own. Hence, this is also how you should understand the meaning of Clear Words passage that says, because we do not accept others' positions, citing the refutations of objections in the 400 stanzas, to be refuted in the refutation of objections passage that states, since there is nothing to be refuted, I refute nothing, might be interpreted in two ways. If we take what is to be refuted as referring to the object of reification of things as intrinsically existence, it makes no sense for Nagarjuna to say that because intrinsic existence does not exist, he refutes nothing. Hence, he must take it as referring to the reifying consciousness that is refuted. Chandrakirti's commentary on that passage says that even the refuting agent does not exist. Hence, the non-existence of both what is refuted and the refuting agent refers to the non-existence of a refuted object and a refuted agent, and that exists by way of its intrinsic character. The commentary on the refutations of objections states that the essentialist, taking the refuting agent and object of refutation to exist in that way, that is, by way of their intrinsic character, results by saying that we do not, insults us by saying that we do that kind of refutation. Nagarjuna does assert that both the refuted object and the refuting agent are like illusions. Why? His refutations of objection states, an emanation can send us out an emanation, and an illusory being can use illusion. To stop illusion, this refutation works in the same way. It also states that if the apprehension of a mirage as water intrinsically existed, it would not occur in dependence upon its causes and conditions, and no one could overcome the apprehension. It also states that if the apprehension of a mirage as water intrinsically existed, it would not occur in dependence upon its causes and conditions, and no one could overcome that apprehension. If that apprehension intrinsically existed, it could not arise dependently. Can any apprehension that arises dependently help but be empty? If an apprehension intrinsically existed, who could overcome it? The same procedure works for everything else. That is why there is no reply to it. The Clear Words passage that states the opposite of the absurd consequence in a reductio pertains to the opponent, but not to ourselves, we have no theses, can also be taken as a source to prove that Madhyamikas have no system of their own, for that passage means that they have no autonomous theses. What about the commentary on the Middle Way passage in which Chandrakirti says that he has no positions? In his own system, Chandrakirti holds that neither his refutation nor the position he is refuting exist intrinsically. Therefore, when he uses reasoned analysis to refute the other party's belief that causes intrinsically give rise to their effects, asking whether causes give rise to effects through contact with them or without contact with them, this refutation does not apply to Chandrakirti himself, because he does not have to assert things that can withstand rational analysis. This is what the passage means. It does not all imply that we have no system of our own, for Chandrakirti's explanation of the Middle Way commentary comments on that passage. We do not fall into a similar absurdity in our own system because, from our perspective, the refutation does not refute what it refutes by contacting it, nor does the refutation refute what it refutes without contacting it, by contacting it or without contacting it. This is because neither the refutation nor what it refutes intrinsically exists. Therefore, we do not consider whether they make contact. Why is the rational analysis proposed by the essentialist not applicable to the Madhyamaka refutation? He says it's because the refutation and what it refutes do not intrinsically exist. He does not say that it's because Madhyamikas have no assertions. In support, he cites the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra in 25,000 lines, where Shariputra investigates and asks Subhuti what kind of phenomenon, produced or unproduced, brings about the attainment of an unproduced phenomena. After Shariputra has refuted that either kind brings it about, he then asks, is that there no attainment and no clear knowledge? And Subhuti says, as in the earlier citation, that these These two do exist, but not dualistically. Using this as an example, Chandrakirti's explanation of the Middle Way commentary gives this explanation. Because it would lead to such dualistic absurdities, the sutra denies that a produced or unproduced phenomena brings about attainment. Moreover, as dualistic analysis is appropriated in the absence of real things, attainment is accepted without analysis, according to the conversations of the world. Likewise, it is neither that a refutation that it refutes come into contact, nor is it that they do not come into contact. Nonetheless, you should realize that conventionally a refutation refutes what is to be refuted. 1 second. 92. Okay. This clearly states that when analyzed in terms of contact or non-contact, refutation does not exist in either way. But since this analysis does not deny the existence of refutation, Madhyamikas must accept that conventionally there are refutations of the positions taken by others. What is more, Chandrakirti also accepts the fact that a syllogistic reason establishes a probundum. How so? In another passage that immediately follows the one cited above, his commentary on the Middle Way, the explanation of the Middle Way commentary state, you can see the details of the orb of the sun, such as an eclipse, even in a reflection of the sun. It is unreasonable to ask whether the sun and its image come into contact. Yet this does not occur in a merely conventional, independent way. A reflection is not something that is true, but in order to make your face beautiful, you treat it as existing. Likewise, the reasonings that have the power to cleanse the wisdom's continence induce understanding of the point to be proven, even though they are improper according to essentialist logic. This is how it should be understood. Since a reflected image does not exist in the least, it is totally impossible to consider whether it is produced through contact or without contact with the orb of the sun. Nonetheless, when you see in a reflection a nearby form that is a causal condition for that reflection, you ascertain that the object you are seeking to understand, likewise a refutation that is empty of intrinsic nature, refutes what it is to be refuted, and a reasoning is improper, and it is empty of intrinsic nature. Proves the point that is to be proven. Since this does not lead to the absurdities of a dichotomizing analysis, it is incorrect for you to claim that our own words suffer from the absurdities similar to that which we find in your position. This is how you should understand it. Thus, this is how Chandrakirti explains his answer, that the arguments we used against others cannot be turned around and used against us. He does not say that we have no system of our own. Okay, so we're going to end there and do questions, if anyone has questions, and then we will, I don't know, just do other stuff. Yes, Coleman. I fix this. So awfulness happening. Hi. How are you?
It's working. Good. So I've been reading a lot. Whenever I read a book by the Dalai Lama, Dzogchen always comes up, and I have no idea what he's talking about when he says. Do you know Dzogchen? Is that pronounced right?
Yeah, Dzogchen.
Dzogchen, yeah.
With Tang Sung, the Konjawa Rinpoche Becha Lobsang Shegadu, and Jawa Rinpoche Tsansan Dzogchen Geche Shegadu. Dzogchen Gare, the Le Labushe Rinpoche. Dzogchen Gare. Nature Alana Mepi Ju, Dzogchen Yin, the Kon Contra.
Lama hiso with that Dzogchen. Lama hiso, that's Dzogchen. That Dzogchen Bechi Tony Lodu. Tombani. No, yes.
Less so. The Dzogchen, the Garishene, the Lobsang Shegadu, the Jupolan, the Dzogchen Kali Kapudu, the Lobsang Mambo She Gu, Dzogchen Shina.
That coso no you can shadow you can Kali Kapu Kayan Maris. Shadow to Sona Abumana Shea Kali Kapu, Tombani the Jibaris.
The Dzogchen, Nature Alana Mepi Ju Yin.
Anna maybe Judah
Yomare. Okay. So Dzogchen is a high.
Lana Mabilu,
Lana
Uma Bilu. What is it?
Lugare.
Luz. Uma Bindeba. Uma Bindeba. Uma Bilu.
So the view of Dzogchen is the view of the middle way consequence school, but it's a way of understanding emptiness that's extremely subtle and only for those who have high amounts of merit and high amounts of wisdom. So when we speak of beings of sharp and dull capacity, those bodhisattvas there are some who have to read the whole Heart Sutra and then be given a very, very long commentary on it. And then there's others who can just read the mantra and understand the whole meaning of the Heart Sutra. So Dzogchen is a particularly difficult view. It's a particularly difficult practice that allows you to arrive at the correct view of emptiness.
Is it in the category of Tantra or?
Rinpoche, Dzogchen Ju Yin, Tantra Yin, Dzogchen Tantra Yin, Mayan. No, it's a separate class altogether.
Okay.
See, in each of the it's it's a tantric realization. So the Ju Dopa, Dzogchen Ju Dopa Yin, Nga Dopa, Tantra Dopa Yin.
Tantra Dopa Sana.
The Shenye Dopa, the Tingenzi Dopa, the Tombani Doni Dopi Shera Dopa, Doni Dopi Dopa. So it's a mind that understands emptiness. Yine the Ju Yin Yomare. Okay, so it's not considered Tantrayana, but it is a view that could be realized through Tantrayana, the Dzogchen view. But the Dzogchen view is the Madhyamika Prasangika view. It's just a different way of arriving at it. You find it in the Nyingma tradition quite a bit, where the Dzogchen tradition is emphasized. And it's a way to arrive at the understanding of emptiness, but because it's extremely subtle, it's easy to misunderstand.
Okay, thank you.
I'm over here. I have a question.
Yeah. You have a mic already, or it's just...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yes. So today, Rinpoche, this is always very complicated information.
Mm-hmm.
And very detailed information. And it's something that I sort of have avoided, but I know it's necessary. It feels like it's necessary, the different levels of mind and how different people's minds perceive reality. And it seems like it's so detailed and so subtle. And so, is this a teaching on how to sort of think about, should we be thinking about these different types, if we have the capacity to understand these different types of schools, and how these different minds perceive reality is the ultimate benefit to understand emptiness in order to remove the obstructions to omniscience. That's a lot. And then my second question is,
It's
I know
nice.
there's...
Well, let's start with the first question. So the first question is the point of negating what's happening here is they're presenting various tenets within the Buddhist tenets and the non-Buddhist tenets. So you're hearing about different schools that aren't Buddhist schools, such as the Samkhya tradition, the Nihilist tradition, the Jain tradition, And then also the four systems within the Buddhist tenets of Great Exposition, Sutra School, Mind-Only School, and then the two schools of the Middle Way School. So basically, this section is negating everything that is not the Middle Way Consequence School. So is the question, are all of these wrong views that are held by beings being negated so that you understand the ultimate view so that you can ultimately get rid of the obstructions to omniscience? Is that the question? Right?
I think it feels like it's very important to understand these different perceptions of reality.
It's just negations so that you don't...
How people perceive them, because if you don't understand it yourself, you can't just say this is wrong or that is wrong. You have to see how the other person perceives reality.
This section assumes that the reader has studied all of the tenet systems. Okay. This section assumes that you've studied all of the non-Buddhist schools. It's a whole text. It's called the Tenets, the Garland of Tenets. Mm-hmm. So this text assumes that you understand all of the 18 non-Great Exposition schools and the two kinds of sutra schools and the two kinds of mind-only and the three kinds of Madhyamaka, etc. So this section assumes that you know all of those views because you've studied them in order to refute them. And the reason that you've done that is so that your mind doesn't have somewhere in some back imprint a wrong view that it's going to hold on to later. So it's all for our own benefit of negating these views that we could ourselves come up with, and then so that we could explain it to others. Rinpoche, the Garishene, the Duta Mawa Je, Dan Shilopa, Dawa Mambo, the Geche Shegadu, Dene, the Umi Tenjor Dawa, the Konso Kanga Pangdu. Dene, the Jutsen Garre Rinpoche. Jutsen Garre.
Oma Tanjo Dawa de Yashuris.
Less so. So I asked him, what is the reason for the ultimate reason for this section? And he said it's because the middle way consequence view is the ultimate correct view. It's the best view. It's ultimately the only correct view. So everything that isn't that is being negated for the sake of achieving the only correct view.
Okay, so if I don't study all those things, I haven't been able to study all those things, right? That you just described. So should I study this middle way consequence view only and read it and study it to understand the nature of reality?
Rinpoche, the kon duta mawa je lobjung ma shena, the umi tenjur dawa kona lobjung she, umi tenjur dawa yabugut sogore, kongichiwa. Duta mawa je lobjung ma shena, the umi tenjur dawa kona lobjung shena pen tokudue. You won't be able to understand, without those, you won't be able to firmly understand the middle way consequence view. So he's just saying, if you really want to understand it, you can't without studying the tenets. But you can leave imprints. The Rinpoche, yine ngatsu dutamawaji the shingamari yine the lobjung she, that's lobjung she pacha yabudu, then a shira pacha yomarabe. So by leaving these imprints, you're leaving it the possibility for the future understanding of the four tenets. So just by not understanding and reading it, you're leaving the potential for the future by way of imprints and seeds to understanding it and connecting with it when you have the whatever faculties to be able to discern all of it. Then Gemma lobjung she le labudue. So it's easier. It will be easier to study in the future because of this preparation that's been done.
So we should not develop a nihilistic view towards our practice.
So Dain Sunsan Rinpoche Ngatsu Tsansan the Chitta Legadu Gangisina the Kali Kapudu Dain Sunsan the Kanga Keo Mare Tsansan Sanlo Dangodu Leo Mare Dembaji Yo Mare Gangisina Kali Kapudu Tsansan Ngatsu Sanlo Dangodu Konsegdu. If you want to have wrong view, then nihilism is the view.
And if someone has, if a person has realized some level of emptiness, their obscurations are not removed. Is that correct?
What do you mean by
Obscurations to
some
ignition.
level of emptiness?
Like the
Do you mean like
smallest form?
Like, say that again.
The smallest. You said there's 16 levels of emptiness, I think, and then there's the emptiness
Synonyms
of emptiness. Pardon?
Yeah. So, but do you mean from seeing it directly? Do you mean
Yes.
inferring it, or just kind of understanding
Seeing it directly.
Seeing it directly. So, so just the coarse afflictions are removed at that point. There's still all of the subtle afflictions and the imprints are still there. Rinpoche, the Nyomon Gatsi, the Doni Dopi Shera, the Tonlam Lena, the Nyomon Rapa Pandue, Dene, the Konde Tsampa, the Tomba Ni Rimbo, Judru, the Yurbe, Pancha Judru. Yoma. The Judru, the Dunchik, Yomarebe. Kanga Denzin Chipa. Dene Dunchik Yomarebe. Dene Rimbo Yen Rinpoche. Rimbo. Tambo Nipa Sumba. Yomare. Yomare. Then Pancha Rimbo Yomare. Panja Rimbo. Yomarebe. So the 16 emptinesses are just different. They're not synonymous, but they're 16 forms of grasping at true establishment, but they aren't stages in a way. Those emptinesses aren't stages. There are obscurations that are removed, and at the point that one directly sees emptiness, he or she removes the coarse afflictions, but the other afflictions haven't been removed. So when you go from there to the path of meditation and then to the path of no more learning, one goes from the first bodhisattva ground, which is at the path of seeing, to the 10th bodhisattva ground, and which is the line of demarcation between sentient being and Buddha. So once one crosses that 10th bodhisattva ground, then at that point he or she becomes a Buddha at the stage of no more learning. And so there are the great of the great, the great of the medium, the great of the small, the medium of the great, the medium of the medium, the medium of the small, and the small of the great, the small of the medium, and the small of the small, subtle obstructions that are removed through the process of the path of meditation and so forth. Ngay the nyomon chembo 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 din chembo chungo ding chembo din 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 chungo. Yeah, I was just telling him what I said about the small, great, and great, and he said that's all true.
Thank you.
Oh, great, good. Yes.
So, is it coming through? Yeah. All right. So, sometimes I feel a little hemmed in when I'm reading these texts. If even if you start at book 1 of the Great Treatise, it said, Tsongkhapa sort of assumes a knowledge of people like, Nagarjuna and Chandrakirti. Even before I started coming here, I have, 3 translations of Nagarjuna's Mula Madhyamaka at my house. And, if you read them, then, everyone says, oh, you got to read Chandrakirti to explain that. And it almost feels like a web. So I was curious, is there any, established order? Like, if I showed up at, Naropa or something, is there any established order for reading these texts that's, the correct way to sort of progress through them? Or do you just sort of pick up a book and just keep reading until
This is assumed to be being taught to scholars, so we'll start there. This Lamrim, they get a Geshe degree, and then they go meditate on Lamrim for a couple years, and then they go to Tantra school. So a lot of this information is assumed to be being taught to Geshe degrees, like people. So when you're reading this, so is there a curriculum, the Geshe curriculum? So they go first through the logic primer and the collected topics where they study the Rinpoche, the Kongitriwa, the Lamrim Chenmo, Lung Mambo Yure, the Gomba Lodru Lung, the Dawa Drape Lung, the Lung Mambo Yure, then the Tambo, Dets Kali Kapudu, Gangin Sene Lung Mambo Yure. Then Kon this Segdu, Ngatsu, Gomba Lodru, the Satambo, the Ngampi Sarpa. Gombolodru hakogomare, dan dawa drapa hakogomare. Dene the kandre gutsogdu. Dene nge segudu. Becha the anja guken chikshene geshe. The geshe tambo the butishunga lobjung sheudu. Dene lamrim chemo lobjung she gonjagdu. Chik sansa. Geshe chembo the lochi loni lamrim gomja. Sam gomja du dene the jume drogudu tambo lamrim gon dene jume the tantra college drogudu yine tambo lamrim den sunsan becha de le labo yomare becha lamatson kapa sampa the lobjung sheken nampichu dets gutsogdu sarpa yomare dene the nge the drepong gandyan sera the tamba duta dene lore dene darig dene parshin then mambo nge tanda nge the kon lagdu. So and when you enter, so for instance, I was just told Rinpoche what I had said to this point about how it's really not written for a beginner in the first place. This isn't a text for a beginner. It can be interpreted, and a beginner can derive benefit from it, because you can get benefit from anything. There's going to be a morsel in there that's beneficial. But if you're looking at someone who can understand this, like, oh, and then Nagarjuna said that, you're talking about a Geshe. A Geshe first went to the collected topics. That first class was the logic primer called Dutra, where they study logic in all the different ways to basically debate. Then they move on to Lorig, mind and its functions. They study all the 7 consciousnesses, all the different inferential valid cognition, prime valid cognition, ascertainment to where the object is seen but not actually connected with. They study all these levels of consciousness. Then they study signs and reasoning. And then every year they study Dharmakirti's Pramanavartika Karika for a month and debate it. So this is always going on where they're studying logic every year. So this goes on for about 3-4 years, depending on who you are, what I just said. Then you go into the Parshin class. It's the perfection of wisdom, Prajnaparamita, where you study Heart Sutra type material and so forth. That's 7 years. Now this is every single day from 5 a.m. until around 1 in the morning, 12 o'clock, 1 in the morning. You're debating at least 6 to 8 hours in there. And the debating, I say until sometimes 12, 1 in the morning, because you're debating from 9 at night until whenever you go to bed. And a lot of people are out there till 2 debating. The great scholars, I don't even know when they sleep. But they do that. That's 7 years. Then you move into Madhyamaka, where you start studying what we're reading. That's 4 years. Then you move into the Abhidharma or Vinaya, depending on which monastery you're in. Abhidharma and Vinaya take another, the Zudang Dua Lo Gatsudue. Then Lo Gatsudu, Zudang Dua, Lo Lobjung Sheken. So in Losaling Tambo Dua Denedzu. So in Losaling they study first the Vinaya, and then they study Abhidharma, and Abhidharma doesn't really have an ending point. While they're Geshes, they still feel they're studying Abhidharma, but the Vinaya is at least 3 years. So that's a minimum. Now, some of them, now to get the Geshe degree, you have to wait for your exams. You have to take all these oral exams, written exams, etc. But the ones who want the Lharampa degree have to wait. They're on a waiting list, and they have to wait till the Mulam Chenmo, which is when all the monasteries come together. Because to get a Lharampa degree, you have to debate all of the monasteries. So someone who can read this has done that. So you're saying someone like us, what do? Depends on how committed you want to be. Do you want to go live in a lay community that studies this? Do you want, and Rinpoche wouldn't know anything but monastery. So what we have here, Naropa, he doesn't know anything about any of that. He's been here and he knows about Namgyal Institute in Ithaca. It's the only thing Rinpoche knows about the West.
I'm more just like what book should I get?
It's really just you see a book in here that he's mentioning, you get that, you read it, you try to combine it.
I shouldn't start with that logic book that you were talking about?
It's not even translated into English. There isn't such a thing. The texts we're talking about and the commentaries they use, we don't even have in English. We've got 50 years of this. That's it. And we didn't even speak this language 50, 60 years ago. So it's not here yet. The most important thing that can happen is people go and get Geshe degrees. That's the only thing that is going to bring Buddhism here in a complete format. It's just get some Westerners putting in the time, not doing it the easy way and being like, well, how will I get a job? Well, then I gotta go to college. Go to college, get a PhD in Buddhism. You don't have a Geshe degree. It's like 10% of a Geshe degree. I'm sorry, not being disrespectful. I'm being respectful to what a PhD would go to a teaching to learn, and that would be from a Geshe. So we're learning intense information is my point. You've dipped your foot into an ocean. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, where do I swim? Well, you try and start with the beginning stuff, the easy stuff, refuge. What is refuge? Why is Buddha good? I mean, what are the excellent qualities of a Buddha? What are the excellent qualities of the Dharma? What are the excellent qualities of the Sangha? What is Sangha? How does someone become Sangha? What am I even studying? Like, you start with those kind of basic things, and you touch these harder things to know that there's something interesting out there you can later understand. But the Western idea of I've got to know it all now, you might as well just... I don't know what you do if you have to know it all now, because you're going to be frustrated every day of your life if you're going to want to be a Buddhist, because this is long term. Lama Tsongkhapa is talking to you about what you need to do over the next 15, 20 lives. He's not talking about 15, 20 minutes. So
is there any reason? So I mean, you see, 'cause I know you also put up a video on the website, sort of doing a 10-minute overview of the logic system. Is there anything a bit more expansive than that?
Sure, there's tons of books written in English. George Dreyfus, check out George Dreyfus's work. George Dreyfus is a Geshe. He gave his robes back. He was from Switzerland. He's one of Rinpoche's students. He's one of the greatest living scholars. He was teaching at Williams College. He sometimes is difficult to be personable with because he's a genius. Some geniuses are like that. But check out some of his books. Read them through. The Sound of One Hand Clapping. Get the Sound of One Hand Clapping. That's a great, great text. Get Debate in Tibetan Buddhism. There's another book about debate. Just look up debate on, you know what I mean, on the internet. And what's the book about, the good one? The Course on Tibetan Buddhist Debate by Daniel Perdue. There you go. Daniel Perdue is another one. So it depends on what category you want to learn. You know what I mean? If you're going to get into debate, I don't feel you can understand Buddhism without learning debate. But if you don't have someone to debate, are you going to spend all your time learning the debate techniques unless you plan on going to India to use it? Or forming a school here where we debate? So that's how I mean how big the water is. We're not established. Got here at 59, they got kicked out of Tibet and didn't want to spread Buddhism. Buddhism was in mountains like a jail, and they didn't even let people come in because they thought they'd ruin Buddhism. So there's hesitancy still to teach us crazy people this knowledge that they tried for thousands of years to not let anybody into because they knew they'd ruin it. which we're doing a good job of, I'd say. When you go to Borders Books, we're doing a fantastic job. So they were kind of right, but it's our duty as Rinpoche's students to make sure that what we present and what we do follows the Nalanda tradition, because that's the gift that we've been given. Yes, that's my speech for the day.
Just a point of clarification.
Sure.
The A is the mind only school by definition nihilistic?
That's a great question.
And B, if not, what reasoning are they deploying in order to pull back from the brink of that?
That their mind exists. But Rinpoche, the Sem Sampi Dawa, it chitayin? Gangin sena konso shilola yomare sampa.
Jama dema maru, kunda dema maru, jama dan yonru dema drus. Oko tani shede wo tsenyi zon. Tenol ta cheta yore.
Chita yore. The umi tenjor dawa sampa sem sampa chitayin? Umi tenjor.
Dawa non cheta yore.
Okay, so the Madhyamika Prasangika school would say that yes, the mind-only school has nihilism. So it says that there is an existence of this nihilism in the mind-only school, but the mind-only state that there is an existence of the projection of the mind is making, so that there is the projection itself is projecting, so it exists. So the projection exists, but it doesn't exist in terms of externally. So the middle way consequence school would say, yeah, that's non-existence. But they're saying no, it's not, because this loophole that it's a projection and that projector's real. You know what I mean? Like the movie that it's projecting is real. So the projection itself, even though it's not real, the projector projecting it is real. Something subtle like that. But the mind-only school is not full of only wrong views. It has a lot of very, very solid views. So much so that Geshe Lobsang Gyatso, of the one who was murdered at the dialectic school in India, who was considered one of the great scholars of his generation, really felt very connected to the mind-only view and said that he really had to be convinced strongly that it wasn't true. Like he really felt Geshe Lobsang Gyatso, the Ngama Sumpare, the Sem Sampi Dawa Sheda Trapodu, the Ngama Kon Sem Sampa Kong Sampa Sedu. Then he Umi Tenjo Dawa. That was one of Rinpoche's best friends. I just try to keep his memories alive because he was such an amazing teacher I never got to meet. But if you get a chance to read any of his books, Generating Bodhicitta, and he wrote a book on Lama Tsongkhapa's, what was it called? Praise of Dependent Origination. He's just such a great scholar, and he was like considered like the hardest monk that ever lived. Like he was tough, like very, very tough. Like Geshe Lobsang Gompo, but more tough. And he really liked eating pork. And Rinpoche really liked eating hot peppers, so they were famous for that. He was famous for eating hot peppers. They were buddies. So it was like the friends, the one who eats the pork and the one who eats the hot peppers. They kom pasha shedagaso, Geshe Lobsang Gyatso, and then Chiran supen shedagaso. They made mambo get the Rito Sena. He had a wisdom that was it's like a luminous, Rinpoche is saying, like this solid, like I'm trying to make the word as beautiful as Rinpoche is saying it. Just like he like illuminated wisdom, like his wisdom like just glowed. He glowed of wisdom. He was very, and it was but in a very solid way. It's a dochembo, which means like a rock. very solid. Okay. Any?
I
Yeah.
just wanted to add, because I asked Rinpoche the same question that he was asking, and Rinpoche just said, read anything by the Dalai Lama. So,
Yeah.
You know, it's just like...
You kind of have to, like in the West right now, find your own way a little bit and kind of gauge be honest with yourself and gauge where you are. Ask yourself the simple questions that are the simple ones. Like, what do I know about, okay, am I a Buddhist? What does that mean? Do I want to be a Buddhist if I'm not? And why am I studying this material? How will this benefit me? What's the reason? Is this so that I'm smarter? Or is it so that I can change my spiritual monopoly so that I can in some way benefit in the future? You know, so you have to really ask yourself what the point of it is. And I think once you answer those kinds of questions, then that tells you where to start. Because some people definitely will just pick, for instance, the tenet area, and they'll just become scholars in it. And they're not Buddhists, but they're absolute scholars of a certain section of Madhyamaka or of the whole tenet systems. So you really just have to ask yourself what your purpose is, because it would look very different if you're trying to just sharpen your intellectual skills versus be a Buddhist and be a practicing mindful Buddhist on a daily basis and trying to live every moment as a Buddhist and analyzing, your ways every moment. And the only way you would analyze that is if you knew what you were looking at. The only way you know what to look at is by studying the real basic stuff about 10 non-virtues and karma and Four Noble Truths. So that's been my experience. My experience was coming in very hot, studying, reading every book, reading a lot of books, and being obsessed with getting it exactly right, realizing that wasn't going to happen, and then pulling back to a point of absurdity, and then realizing, now I'm trying to live as a Buddhist. 25 years later, I'm just trying to wake up in the morning a Buddhist, go to bed a Buddhist, and whatever that means to me, daily I try to do it a little better. So that's where I got to. I came in hot though, studying highest yoga tantra, and I really did. I have a lot of initiations, folks. Okay, we done? It's 11. We really pushed it today. Yabudu. Concluding mandala offering and dedication prayer. Right? Isn't that what we do? Where's my glasses? I can't see anything anymore. The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. I dedicate whatever virtues I have collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Drapa to shine forever. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra as well, with whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the 3 times. I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. In that pure land surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. All-powerful Avalokiteshvara Tenzin Gyatso, may you stay until samsara's end. I pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Wandak, upholder of scriptural and realizational doctrines, spiritual friend who trained extensively in the 5 great philosophical texts with exceptional wisdom and perseverance. Suji Rinpoche Gutsi Shapi Denrana. Natsu Lamrim Chemo Langarum Chemo Kanga Chirana.